Hey guys, I am so sorry because I forgot it was Monday. David didn't have work today. He had it off, and sort of our plans were in flux a bit. And I had scheduled this stream earlier this week, and then while we were out, we stayed out later than would maybe typically on a Monday. And by the time I got back and I was putting the kids to bed, I was like, holy cow, I was supposed to stream. So I apologize to everybody who showed up in the chat earlier. Timo, CS Vincent, Eric, and Michael Kane, who's still here. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I figured that this would be a pretty short stream, and you guys, I know you guys enjoy this kind of thing. At least it seemed like you did last time that we did a book haul. You were going nuts in the chat. So I'm just going to go through about $100 worth of indie books that I have already read and reviewed on Periapsis Press. So if you're interested in anything that you see, you can go and buy it because you know that I already recommend it. Or you can go and read my review to find out more details about what to expect in the book. Oh, hi, William Jeffrey Rankin's in the chat. I'm going to start with this one. This one I had to open right away because Dan the Destructor was in there. And I've now read this one, and you can find my full review on the website. We will be doing a book review, book club live stream on Thursday on A Drink with Crazy's channel. Myself, Royce, TJ Marquis, and John Douglas. So if you've read the book, please join us. It's going to be a great time. If you haven't read the book, please join us. It's still going to be a great time. This is definitely one that I recommend. It's a really good summer read. I'm not going to necessarily read what I put up on the screen. You guys can read it yourself if you want. But that's just kind of, what I put on the screen is the beginning of my review. It's my own sort of, not blurb, but like, this is what I think the book is. That way you don't have to rely just on the blurb the author writes or synopsis like on Goodreads or something. Like this is written by me. Dan the Destructor. It's a really cute little book. It's in matte, so you can kind of see. Let me take this off again. Maybe you can't. Maybe my lighting isn't. So the reason that I am not a huge fan of matte, part of it's the texture. I really don't like that silky matte texture. But the thing that really bothers me is that the matte can get scratched. This one did in the package, right? Just being against other books. It doesn't, like with a gloss, you can kind of buff it out if you get fingerprints on it. But with the matte, you get marks and scratches and they don't come out nice. If you like matte, this one's matte. I know some people love it. So it's a nice little book. Text is quite small, but it is a novella by length. So it don't feel like you're being sold like a small book, but it's really quite long. No, it's a novella. But the text is small. One thing I noticed was the indentations, because it's so small, they seem quite far into the page. And then like the chapters, there's no page break or anything. It's straight from one to the other, and then you see the indent at the beginning of the chapter as well. Really great book. I would say like there were very few like errors. So if you are worried about that kind of thing, like this one doesn't. I didn't have too much trouble. There weren't a lot of distractions, is what I'm trying to say. Fast, easy read. Yeah, pick it up. All right, next book. This is Mouse by Kalina Radcliffe. You'll notice that the cover is different. I really like this new cover that she's got. It gives it more of a dystopian look to it, a little bit more communication about what the book is compared to I'm trying to think what this cover says, or the original cover says to me. It's I don't know, more like gothic romance horror type look to it, but dystopian fantasy is what this is, and this cover captures the dystopian feel. It doesn't capture the fantasy part of it, and it really is fantasy. Really, really wonderful. I really like this one. Has wide pages. Here are the Here are the chapter headings. They look great. Off-white color for the pages. Gloss. Here's the cover close up. Yeah. Yeah, William Jeffrey Rankin says the matte finish can be inconsistent. Yeah. I think probably if you had matte from it's not really like anything else that like you have it on your shelf, right, from like a traditional publisher. It's like the quote unquote matte that you get that's like dust jackets or whatever. It's paper, right? It's not gloss and it's not silky. It's just not reflective. And it really bothers me, the silky feel. Eric Wag is now reconsidering the matte. Oh, hi, John Douglas. And Eric, you guys are great. I can just pick up an hour late and you guys show up. I really appreciate you. I'll show this one more time. I really liked this. I was not expecting to because of this dystopian label, but and I go into this in my review, it really, the tropes tend towards the fantasy side, and the tone is extremely hopeful. I had her on both on the website and on this YouTube channel and talked to her. She's a cool person. So I encourage you to check out my interview with her as well. Okay. Eric is working on some promos for me. I messaged him was it yesterday or the day before? And it's like, hey, I really like the Iron Age promos you're doing. Would you have time? Would you consider doing some for the book club? And he said that he would. I really appreciate it. Okay, this one is Made in His Image by Jeff Stoner. Jeff is one of the authors that is included in Periapsis Christmas, which the Anarchist Bible Study is currently doing 1-a-day reviews of that book. So each person's story is getting a look, and Josh is going to be talking about this one, or the one, Jeff's story. I mean, not this. Third? I think it's the third one. So that would be Wednesday. And I subscribe, so I get to see all of this stuff when he records it. He talks about this cover, and his story is kind of funny. It is sexy, so but without being crass, crude, or like traipsing into like immoral behaviors, right? But if you are the kind of person who just is like want to keep that stuff at arm's length, maybe not for you. I loved it. I thought this was a great story. So glass printing. I love the detail on this necklace. I think that's really wonderful. And white paper. You can see. There's the chapter headings. Yeah. This one is a good sci-fi crew on a ship exploring type thing. I recently reviewed both Star Shatter and he's in the chat, Michael Caine's book, After Moses. And those are also spaceship crew shenanigans type stories. So if you like that kind of thing, pick this one up. This one I haven't read, but I'm intending to. This is the first one. This is the only one. Hacking Galileo by Benton Wood, who I have reviewed before as an author. So I'm looking forward to this. Yeah. Glass. No margins. White paper. It's a nice font, easy to read. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to reading this, cracking it open. I've read of his and reviewed on the site, I should say, Pirates of the Electromagnetic Waves. Loved that. I know TJ Markey really liked the race car one. It's not race car, it's a tank that goes into a alternate dimension. I'm blanking on titles today. Holy cow. Maybe it says also by Nightland Racer. There it is. So yeah, I haven't read this one yet, but I'm confident enough in the author to recommend it. Okay. Yeah, Nightland Racer. This one, this is my box from Amazon, right? And it's a really, really good thing that for once the post office was kind to it, because come on. Who packs books like that? First Demon Country by John Delarose. This was one of the very first books that I ever reviewed on my website. And he just released number 4, I believe. So I wanted to start grabbing them. This one is matte. It's you can see the texture of the image really disguises the flaws in the matte. It's really nice. The only place that's really noticeable is on the back cover where everything is black. Even the back cover, though, has like a subtle design, I think. If I'm looking at actual picture image and not scratches. Yeah. This one was a good one. John De La Rosa's style is pulpy, sparse. So if you really like the descriptions of steampunk stuff and like what it looks like and how it works, and he's not going to deliver that. What he is going to deliver is a fast-paced, interesting story with great characters. So look at these chapter headings. Look at that. Yep, off-white printing. Looks great. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. The next one that I grabbed was Kitsunche's Saga of the Swordbreaker, Dawn of the Broken Sword. This was part of my indie spotlight last summer. I think the cover is fantastic on this too. Very in the moment, things happening, people moving. Let me throw up my slide here to you guys. I have not read any more of Che's stuff, but he is a verbose author. He's put out a lot, and I encourage you guys to check him out. Really a deep thinker. If you follow him on Twitter, he writes these great threads about stuff that are full of information and philosophy. And this one might seem odd to some people, my choice of this one, but I think that it fits, and I'll explain why. So the main characters are, well, it's a cultivation novel, right? So it's kind of along the lines of like Eastern religion. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth here. I also did an interview with Che on my website, not a video review. I didn't really have things going on the website, on the YouTube yet. So I encourage you to read that if you are interested in some of the underworkings, what's going on in his head when he was writing this. And it's not like a lot of the stuff that I review comes from a Christian worldview, or if not like an overtly Christian worldview, a Western traditional, like a Western traditional understanding of spiritual things and how that works. So this comes from a different angle. It is not a cultivation novel in the sense of like some of like the cultivation novels suffer from a lot of the same sort of anime trope stuff. It's not a harem or like anything like that. It's not a lit RPG or anything. It's just a cultivation novel. And as such, it has a lot of that spiritual things going on. I don't find that, personally, I don't find that frustrating or like disheartening, or some people are really off put by that if they well, for their own reasons, right? I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I don't find that frustrating. I think that something like this that treats faith seriously is a lot more tolerable than something nihilistic that treats faith as stupid, or as that people who have faith are either ignorant or bad actors, people who are using it to get what they want, and that thing is not. They're hypocrites and they're bad people, and like that, I think is much worse than a story that says things, spiritual things are real, and treats people who have a set of principles and beliefs as people, right? Like good people who could really believe that, right? So that's where I stand on that. Definitely recommend. I really enjoy it. This is a great story. I'll throw the slide back up again. Lots of action, monsters, lots of diligence in the way that the world feels. White paper. There's a chapter heading. Text is kind of small. There's a break. It's just really nice. Nice book. Again, there's a lot happening on the cover, so the matte doesn't show the flaws. Not as obvious as like Rob Grimes, which has like that flat color. I mean. All right. This is the last one in my $100, and then I've got a bonus one. Hardcover, Paula Ritchie's new edition of Penance. I am super excited to crack this open. I'll throw up the... So she did the art, the new art for the cover, and it's illustrated. Oh, this looks fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So there's a chapter heading. White paper. Very little margin. Looks like most of the images come at the end of chapters, and they're a little bit small. This one just happens to be on a page by itself. The other ones. Looks great. The hardcover, this is matte, so you know how I feel about matte. It looks good. Like the interior part of the cover is nice. Looks tight. It's a very sturdy hardcover. Yeah. I hope she does more with this series. I believe that she is. I can't remember when I did a review with her recently as well, also on YouTube. So I know she talked when she was going to be releasing a next one, or if she was working on the next one. But I know that it is coming down if it hasn't been released already. I can't remember. Michael King is... I don't like matte. A lot of people do. If you put up a poll, I'm sure it would be 50-50 or very close. I'm just somebody who it bothers. I think people who don't like gloss tend to find it like irritating and annoying how easily it gets fingerprints. Whereas people like me who don't like the matte have like a tactile to it. it's all trade-offs, right? One thing I do notice about the back of this is that the back margin here is quite wide. But yeah, it's great. Katie, I don't like Matt. Yeah. Okay. This came in the mail. While I was waiting to do this stream. So I thought I would include it. I saw him say that he had one more signed copy in his possession and that he would send it to somebody. So I bought it. I did buy it. He didn't just send it to me. So Jiao Tu's Endeavor. This was a fun book. This was also part of the Indie Spotlight last summer. Really nice. I like that little stamp. Here's the chapter headings. Just really simple. White paper, gloss. Last time I did a stream like this, when I got all of this stuff, I was just blown away by how big some of them were, right? Like, I don't remember Jiao Tu being so much when I read it, right? Like, it was like a fast summer read, but like I'm holding it in my hands. I'm just like, wow, nice. Yeah, this is great. I love getting physical books. I really, and I said this last time too, right? Like I had made the switch a couple years ago to almost entirely ebooks because I was reading a lot of indies and because I had babies, right? And so I was doing a lot of reading while also doing other things and didn't have the capability of holding the book and turning pages gave me an anxiety because I was like gonna wake the baby. So I was doing almost entirely ebooks, and then to hold some of these books that I enjoyed so much is just so much fun. I absolutely love it. It's so cool. Like, look how it's just nice. And it's like they aren't like, you know how if you go in like the sci-fi fantasy section of like a bookstore or a library, if they set it apart from the other fiction, you know how thick some of those fantasy books are. When I was a teenager, it just, you grabbed those right off the shelf. I was like, I'm going to be entertained for hours. Now I'm like, I don't have hours. I want to be able to enjoy the story without getting lost in the muddle in the middle that so often happens when you have such a long book. So they're all really nice, tight stories, and they're still so big. It just makes me so happy, guys. It makes me so happy. And the other thing is, a lot of indies I've noticed are reaching for the bigger sizes. I would say probably most of my trad pop is more No. Probably this size. I do not have a measuring tape handy, or I would tell you guys what this is. Looks like maybe the 7. I don't know, but like compare that to some taller and wider. I think that's just interesting to me because it's a difference, right? It's not necessarily better or worse. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I encourage you to get any of these. I have already read them all, except for Fenton Woods, but I've read other stuff of his that I feel confident in recommending it to you. I enjoy this kind of stream. I enjoy sharing the books with you that I love. And if you guys are interested in any of them in particular and would like to know more about my thoughts on them, you can go to periapsispress.com where I have the full-length reviews of everything. I am slowly trying to actually do like short review bits to Amazon Goodreads. For a long time I didn't do that because I just didn't have the time to manage multiple platforms for stuff. It was enough to be doing my own website, but I'm trying to get things out to be more helpful to more people, authors and readers alike. So that is something that you may see rolling out. If you're an author, you might see a little mini review on your Amazon or Goodreads page. Yeah, and if you guys also like this kind of video, just let me know. If you guys would like to see a particular book that I have reviewed, let me know, and I'll try and get it in the next bag. I'll do this again. It's kind of fun. With the Jiaochu's Endeavor, this came to about 120. So I sprang extra for the signed copy. Oh, John got a big haul this week. Would like to see. Definitely like to see. I like books, and I like unboxing videos. Eric says he likes the Wii books. They're kind of fun. I like, this one is probably the smallest that I've seen, but I really like that printed novella feel. It's like, oh, I could sit down and read this. No big deal. Periapsis Christmas is that kind of size. Sooner or later, I will actually get author copies of that book. Not yet. Wow, kind of keep hitting the edge of that chair. Right now, like I said earlier, the Anarchist Bible Study is doing reviews of each story in Periapsis Christmas. So I really encourage you guys to check in on their YouTube. I think it goes up at noon every day this week. I think that's so cool. And like I said, when we first put that book out, it's really another way to find a good indie author. Like we picked the stories that we did. I should say I picked. David did the cover and all of the interior and stuff of that book. And then I did the editing and picking and stuff. But was really trying to do the website as a book, if that makes sense. Like, here is a way for people to get a snapshot into what the author is like, and see if the fun and adventure and the author's prose is something that they want more of. And if you listen to Josh's reviews of these stories, I think you'll see that that was successful. So I'm really thrilled about that. Sorry, tangent. John's doing a book haul. Yay. Okay. Also mentions Dan's main story. This one has Dan the Destructor, which takes up most of the book. Let's check real quick. Here's the table of contents you can see. Here's Dan the Destructor, and then here's a short story. And so if you are wanting to join us, you can, it's like, I would say the short story fits. And I mentioned this in my review. It makes sense. Its placement sort of at the end of this story, before the next installment, it makes sense that it goes there. But if you're wanting to, if you're wondering if you can get away with not reading that part, we probably will talk about it. But the Dan the Destructor proper is this much of the little book. Thursday, 7 p.m. on A Drink with Crazy. And I think he's on Rumble too now. So YouTube, Rumble. I'm sure he'll post it both places. I am super excited for this. I'm really excited to talk to other people about books. I did the Indie Spotlight last year, and I had fun, but I was wanting more, something more like more talking, more people also reading at the same time. I did book discussions with Fiona Wolf of each one. If you can stand to go back and read and watch them, and you're interested, go ahead. It was before I had any of my equipment, so camera is awful, setup is awful, my mic is absolute crap, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm excited to do this with more people who are also enthusiastic. Oh, John is asking if it's on Royce's channel. Yes. So the way that we were doing it was we each picked a short book that we will read. I'm not sure which one we're doing next. We'll have to talk about it. And then the person who recommended that book will then host. So that way we're sort of cross-promoting and getting people to find and go to another reviewer's page, channel, finding out what they recommend, seeing if they like their style, just helping people find good books, right? And I cannot read every single indie book, and but I want to, right? And I want to help promote them. So an easy way for me to do that is to say, well, here's a reviewer that I trust. So if you see something on his channel that you think looks interesting, go ahead, buy it, you know? So that is the reasoning behind the relay of channels, if that makes sense. If you haven't read this and you are worried about spoilers or whatever, then I honestly don't know if we're going to get into spoilers or not. I think that probably shouldn't make promises. But I would encourage you to grab the book. And if you are worried about spoilers, maybe hold off on watching the stream until you have read the book. But I think that the story is pretty straightforward and it's just good, clean fun. So it's not something that you should be too worried about, because there's giant subverting expectations, twists type stuff. Just fun for what it is, right? Good pulpy fun. So grab it, join us. It's going to be a great time. Okay. It's late and I'm rambling. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm so sorry for the late start. And you guys have a happy 4th. I will see you guys on Thursday. You guys have a great night.